where we explore fascinating figures from sacred writings. Among them, Moses stands out as one of the most captivating characters. He is renowned for writing the first 5 books of the Bible, known as the Pentateuch, and is credited as the author of the book of Job. Today, let's delve into a lesser-known biblical mystery that sparks great interest among Christians. Did you know there was a confrontation between the Archangel Michael and Satan for possession of Moses' body? After Moses' death, a surprising event occurred, described in the book of Jude. Satan and Archangel Michael faced off in a dispute over Moses' body. This raises an intriguing question. Why would Satan be interested in stealing Moses' body? It seems that Satan ardently desired to possess the body of this man of God. Furthermore, the question arises, why was Moses' body never found? In a brief verse in the Bible, a secret of great importance is unveiled. It concerns the battle between Archangel Michael and Satan for possession of Moses' body, found in the book of Jude, chapter 1, verse 9. The verse reveals that Michael, in contending with the devil, chose not to bring a railing accusation against him, but instead said, "The Lord rebuke you." This intense celestial battle and Michael's reverence in invoking the Lord to intervene have intrigued many theology students and curious readers of the Holy Scriptures. The biblical event, described in the book of Jude shortly after Moses' death, remains shrouded in mystery. It narrates an epic dispute between Archangel Michael and Satan in person, seemingly for possession of Moses' body. Readers are most intrigued by Satan's true intention in desiring Moses' body, considering that Moses had already passed away. It is not difficult to find several passages in the Bible that describe battles between angels and demons. For example, in the book of Daniel, chapter 10, we witness a famous battle where an angel's visit to the prophet Daniel is delayed due to a conflict with a demon, the prince of Persia. While spiritual battles constantly occur, it is important to emphasize that Satan's powers are insignificant compared to the infinitely superior power of God. Archangel Michael, whose name is mentioned several times in various parts of the Bible, is considered the leader of the angels and the prince of the people of Israel. One of the most significant battles involving Michael occurred when he contended with Satan for the body of Moses. The question that arises is why the devil and this angel would be in conflict over a lifeless body. Firstly, it is essential to understand why Moses' body was so precious. In the Old Testament, Deuteronomy chapter 34 reports that Moses died and was buried by God himself in a valley in the land of Moab. The exact location of his grave remains a mystery to this day. Moses was highly revered as a great shepherd of Israel, appointed by the Lord to lead the people out of Egypt. People recognized his profound connection with God, which may have led some to consider him worthy of worship even after his passing. Various theories attempt to explain why Satan disputed Moses' body with Archangel Michael. One theory suggests that Satan wanted to impersonate Moses to deceive the Israelites in the wilderness, leading them into idolatry and other moral deviations. However, this view has limitations, as Satan can transfigure himself and assume the form of another person without needing Moses' body. He is capable of accurately imitating Moses, including appearance, voice, and other details. This is the drawback of the initial perspective, making it easily dismissible. However, it remains a possibility, albeit somewhat absurd. The second interpretation can be summarized as follows. Satan desired Moses' body to bury it in a dishonorable and contemptuous manner, aiming to disgrace him and erase his memory. While this perspective seems plausible due to Satan's evil nature, it has its weaknesses, as some argue that it would not align with Satan's desires regarding Moses' body. Now let's consider the third interpretation, which many theologians find the most plausible among those mentioned thus far. It is similar to the first perspective, suggesting that Satan wanted Moses' body for one of his unclean spirits, a low-ranking demon, to possess it and mock him before the people of Israel. This would serve to discredit Moses completely, making him the subject of scorn and causing him to lose his role as Israel's liberator. Unlike the first interpretation, it is important to note that Satan, as a being with various spiritual powers, would have the ability to impersonate Moses and assume a physical form without needing Moses' actual body. However, the second interpretation proposes that Satan was interested in defiling Moses' lifeless body with one of his demons or evil spirits, manipulating it to act wickedly towards the people of Israel. According to this view, Satan would send one of his unclean spirits to possess Moses' lifeless body. During this possession, the entity obeying Satan would portray a false version of Moses, engaging in abhorrent and repugnant actions towards the people. This possessed Moses would commit sins that go against the teachings he had written in the name of God, leading the people of Israel astray. The interpretation suggests that possessed Moses would exhibit the 7 deadly sins before the people. The first sin would be wrath, manifesting anger, brutality, irritability, and hostility towards the Israelites, just as he had done previously, when God did not allow him to enter the promised land. The people would witness Moses repeating the same mistake and murmuring against him, accusing him of being full of anger. The second sin that possessed Moses would commit is greed, which would cause him to seek the wealth of the people of Israel for himself and impose taxes on the families and tribes. The people would be furious with these actions and perceive Moses as acting out of greed, unaware that it was an impure spirit controlling him. The third repugnant sin that the evil spirit would commit in Moses' body is pride and arrogance. Possessed Moses would consider himself a king over the people of Israel, equating himself with God and humiliating the Israelites to demonstrate his supposed superiority. This would provoke their anger and resentment. The fourth sin, seen as deplorable in the eyes of God, that the demon possessed in Moses' body would commit is gluttony and excess. Possessed Moses would organize a feast with the tribal leaders of Israel and promote a competition to consume excessive amounts of food, leading to illness and even death. In this way, possessed Moses would carry out these actions uncontrollably, exhibiting behavior akin to that of an animal. The fifth repugnant sin that would be committed by Moses, or rather the unclean spirit possessing his body to defile it, can be described as follows. Possessed Moses would distance himself from all his responsibilities towards the people of Israel, showing a deep disinterest and immense laziness towards everything and everyone. This behavior would irritate the tribal leaders, who would start referring to him as the lazy one of Israel instead of the liberator. Moving on to the sixth sin, which is deeply reprehensible and repulsive in the eyes of God, it involves lust and its various manifestations. This aligns with what Bala mentioned, highlighting the weakness of the men of Israel when confronted with the beauty of Moabite women. In this scenario, Moses would throw a party in Israel, calling all the women to engage in prostitution, claiming it to be a divine act. The unclean spirit would deceive them with signs, and sexual relations would only take place between the men of Israel and the women. Additionally, possessed Moses would also engage in relations with the prostitutes of Moab and the Canaanite women, further desecrating his body and subjecting himself to ridicule. The seventh, disgusting and deplorable sin that possessed Moses, under the influence of the unclean spirit sent by Satan, would commit is lying. He would perform all these actions while impersonating Moses without any remorse, engaging in the terrible sin of deceit. It is important to note that Satan is known as the father of lies and intended to use Moses' body for the commission of these sins, including lying. Lastly, the unclean spirit, in the name of Satan, would lead the Israelites to commit the sin that would most distance them from God, idolatry. They would worship the Canaanite deity known as Baal, whom Satan had used as a deceptive representation. This would result in praise and worship not directed towards God, but towards Baal. However, the Archangel Michael intervened and defeated Satan, preventing him from taking hold of Moses' body. God did not allow Satan to achieve his intentions and sent Archangel Michael to protect Moses, freeing him from the clutches of the evil one. We have received a request related to this topic in our comments. Are you already familiar with these views and interpretations regarding the reasons behind the desire for Moses' body? Please share your comments and suggest other scripture riddles that may interest you for future videos. Thank you for following along thus far, and see you in the next video.